Hello, this is just going to be a really quick video in response to a post on the Modo user forums about weighting with hair guides and meshes that are subdivided or not subdivided. So here I've got a cylinder, and you can see here it's not subdivided. And when we're not subdivided, if we come in and look, we can see that the hair guide's base point of the guide is positioned exactly at each vertex of the underlying mesh. If we subdivide, then they appear to be floating above the surface. You can see that here, and you can definitely see it at the ends. But across the whole surface, the polygons seem to be kind of floating at a distance. But the hair guides have remained at their position where the vertexes were when the cylinder is not subdivided. But I wanted to demonstrate that actually with the weighting it does do something to the guides. So let's go ahead and select, I've got a little joint chain here, and we'll go ahead and do a bind. Now the heat bind won't work at all because the heat bind doesn't work with curves. So we have to use the smooth distance bind. And if I go ahead and do that, now when we exit setup mode, if I select a joint and rotate it, we can see that it actually has done something with the bind. And if I come in closer here, you'll see that these base parts of the hair guide are weighted fairly closely to the underlying mesh. What isn't weighted is the tips of the hair guides. And we can see this if we just come in here and I'll select this set of, so I've just used hair guides with 2 vertices, and we can come down here to the weighting and say adjust weights, and it'll show us the values that are associated with this. First I have to select the joint that would be these guys are related to, so it's this joint. And then when I come in here and say adjust weights, we can now see the values that it's working from. So down here we're weighted at 96%, but out at the tips of the hair guides we're 0% weighted. And that's why we're getting this weird kind of sticky drag of the hairs. If these tips of the hair guides had some weight, we wouldn't get that effect anymore. Okay, so I've cleared out the previous bind, and I'm just going to do this again, but this time we'll do it on the cylinder when it isn't being subdivided. So this time we'll go ahead and in setup mode bind this again, same settings as before. And this time when we come out here and look at the result, it is much cleaner. But as we bend, you can see even with a 2-segment hair here, they're kind of compressing along here and stretching. They're stretching out their length, and then as I bend this joint, they're compressing along the hair. And we can see why that's happening by just selecting the vertices again, going to weighting and adjust weighting. And we can see here now that I've got 95% weight down here, but out at the tips of the hairs we're at 60% weight. So the longer the hair is, the more fall off you're going to get along the length of the hair, and the more kind of drag effect you get as you deform. And if this hair was curved, then you'd get potentially even more differences as you perform the deformation. The shorter the hair is, like if this hair was you know, a quarter as long, then this value at the tip would be much higher, and it would stay closer to the base point of the hair guide. Okay, so that's it.